Voters turned out to make their voices heard in yesterday's midterm elections, but with the balance of power in the House and Senate yet to be decided, what exactly did voters tell us?
Yes, that is a question that we need to ask guest, our ABC News political director, Rick Klein. He has all the answers, right? Yes, just like you told us yesterday, the Senate race was going to come down to a couple of states, and we're still waiting on some of those states.
Yeah, and remember that the magic number is 50 for the Democrats, 51 for the Republicans, because the Democrats have the tie-breaking vote. The only state to flip so far was Pennsylvania. Just this morning, we heard from Dr. Oz conceding to John Fetterman, so that has gone in their column. And now, if you play this out as the actual results stand at this hour, if you put Arizona in the Democratic column, Nevada right now looks like it'll probably go to the Republicans. Same with Wisconsin with Senator Ron Johnson. We're back looking at a runoff in Georgia. It's Georgia that's the majority maker, the majority breaker, and because neither candidate right now has 50%, 4 weeks more of politics. It's like a Groundhog Day for my world.
But those 4 weeks are going to be concentrated in all that money going into Georgia to decide the Senate. That's going to be something to watch. But let's go to the House here now. Look, we kept talking about red wave. You and I were talking about this on GMA, maybe a red ripple, but still looks like Republicans are going to get the House.
Yeah, look, we looked at this map yesterday. It was all gray. Now we get some fun colors to play with. So this is the Democratic-held seats. And remember, the magic number is 218 for either party. We saw the Democrats hold a bunch of their own, and yes, the Republicans had a whole bunch of flips, including in some bluer parts of the country, and that's obviously a problem for Democrats. But they also went on some offense, and they won in North Carolina, Illinois, Ohio, and that's held down this margin. So right now, the Republicans have this net of a 6-seat pickup. They need that to hold. They need that to hold through everything else. You can see from this map, the Democrats still have a lot more on the table. It's easier to see the Republicans getting to 218, but the fact that we're even in that mix is a bit of a surprise, guys. The Republicans were talking about a wave, a blowout, a tsunami. None of that happened. If they end up with the majority, which seems likely, it's going to be very, very narrow.
You mentioned surprises. What were the biggest surprises from last night?
Yeah, I was really keyed in to the governor's races, and here's why. Two years ago, we saw Joe Biden flip back what used to be called the blue wall. Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania all went to Joe Biden after going to Donald Trump 2 years earlier. Now, his approval ratings in the low 40s. We've got double-digit inflation. A lot of people said, wow, this part of the country is poised to go back. But guess what? All of these states, from Minnesota through Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania, and even New York, where the governor here had a little bit of a scare, all of them went blue. They have Democratic governors, which means they'll be in charge of the elections, which will be critical ones in 2024. And it means that the Democratic parties there have a little bit of a leg up in terms of organizing. That surprised me. I thought we'd see at least one Republican governorship there in the Midwest.
All right, back to Congress here for a moment.
Yeah.
Look, how did President Biden do historically compared to other presidents during a midterm?
Yeah, look, presidents usually get wiped out. Barack Obama called it a shellacking. George W. Bush called it a thumping. The bottom line is that Joe Biden is likely to end up doing better than any president in his first midterm since George W. Bush. And that was about a year after 9/11. And we were in the middle of a war, and it was a rally around the flag. President Bush at the time had an approval rating in the 70s. Much different environment than we had right now. The idea that a president could defy that history and do it in the midst of double-digit inflation literally has no precedent. We've just never seen that before.
Wow. Well, we teased this at the top. Was there an overall message that the voters were sending last night?
I think voters were endorsing moderation, normalcy, calmness, centrism. I think the way that you saw voters respond in a bunch of places where Donald Trump played heavily and he went in there, he endorsed someone who rejected the outcome of the last election, that to me was a repudiation of Trump and Trumpism, but I think even more broadly of extremism. Voters went in lots of places for someone that they could view as just a more moderate person, and you know what? Candidates mattered. It wasn't just Team Red and Team Blue. Voters picked the right person in their view for the right job.
All right. Rick Klein, it's been really great having you here in studio with us, and you were just fantastic, the whole team. I know it was a very late night. I know you maybe have a few hours here. You can rest a little bit, so thank you so much.
You
Rick
said
Klein.
It's a new day. I'm not even believing
it.
Right.
It's the same day. It's Groundhog Day for you right now. All right.
Well, hey there, GMA fans. Robin Roberts here. Thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Lots of great stuff here. So go on, click the subscribe button right over here to get more of awesome videos and content from GMA every day, anytime. We thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the morning on GMA.